Welcome to chatWater, the show where we talk all things Blackwater. How did I do? How was that intro? Are we getting better at it?
It was good.
It was coherent.
Sean, your intro in last night's show was good. It was so funny. It felt like it was written because you were messing up, like you were speaking like no one speaks. That's sort of that's why I felt like it was written.
Which my announcements?
No, like, Sean with his intro. We're Blackwater, where we play D&D.
And our title is Blackwater.
And our title is Blackwater.
Yes, it had to be written because that's how it was said,
Here's a little secret, chatWater exclusive.
Ooh.
Blackwater scripted. We write this all in advance. We write
we memorize tons of lines.
Critical Role it makes a big points that they're not scripted, and we're gonna go the other direction.
We make big points that
we're gonna make big points that we're 100% scripted. Everyone is just that good of an actor.
Can you imagine what it would be like to actually have to memorize that much? As a non-actor, I can say this with being I know that that's what you guys do.
Well, that's why we do it on Zoom, is because it's got a teleprompter.
Have you not been using the teleprompter?
You've not been.
I've just been memorizing my lines.
You've just been going in raw.
Oh. Yeah.
Oh.
So
that's the talent that you have next to your table. Come on.
As a producer, I'm disappointed because we've been employing 20 writers to constantly be writing on the fly.
Epi's got 3 writers of her own, so I mean, No, I don't. I think that's so interesting when shows are oh, the show's scripted. It's what? No.
Well, I think it is interesting because the boys over at Adventure Zone made it very apparent that they do almost a semi-script where they have conversations as a group about directions that they take it to make sure everyone's comfortable and on board with where things are going. And it's not so much we plan out the word for word. It's just they're where should the story go? What should we explore? And I think that what people need to sometimes remember is that especially not with us, we play pretty much a true D&D broadcast. It's sort of a true D&D game. But
scripted,
a lot of these
true D&D, yeah.
Exactly. A lot of these shows, I mean, they are shows, right? A lot of the podcasts and that kind of thing, they are there for people's entertainment, and so you need to have some sort of creative cohesion as to where things are going.
And I think people also don't necessarily have an appreciation of the various levels of scripted to improvised. You know what I mean? Because I feel some D&D shows / podcasts are not too different from Robert Downey Jr. on the set of The Avengers, where they're Robert Downey Jr., this is what the story's going to be. And he's all right, I'm just going to make up everything I say. So he they know the beats, but all the dialogue is scripted. Or I don't know, fucking Robin Williams, where even in a scripted thing, it's nah. But then there's fucking, oh, now I'm getting theater nerdy, but Commedia dell'arte, which is the OG improv theater, which was we know what the plot is going to be, but we don't know exactly how we're going to get there.
Yeah.
It's A, B. And then there's the true, we just show up and we're blank slates. And all of those are different forms of improv.
Absolutely. And I think, I think it takes a lot of especially in the D&D context, I think it takes a lot of trust that goes from players to other players and also players to DM and DM to player, that the narrative will happen. It might not happen in the way that you think it's going to happen, or especially depending on kind of what style each player plays or what style the DM has, or what they're choosing to employ as the way that they work within the group dynamic. But the narrative will go where it needs to go. Somebody will drive it there. Somebody does. And mostly it's I think that there comes a point, and I know we've talked about this in the past on some of the group dynamic episode, where the DM gives the power back to the group as to start you're going to drive the car now. I am here. The world is created around you. I will help structure this and give you story points, but it's up to you folks to drive the car. And I think that that's one of the, that's one of the things I'm really proud of us, is that the narrative is in place, and we see that the structure that Tim is laying out for us, but we're also we're going to go do these other things too. We're going to leave the money pit for a year and a half, in game and out of game. and it's going to be there. And Tim's like, great, and I will accommodate as necessary.
And
So
you guys came so close to just leaving Volketh or to do his
Limerick.
No, not Limerick. Sorry.
Ricel. Like
Ricel.
OG Volketh.
OG Volketh to do his thing when you guys left to go and explore this island. There was a moment you could see where Adam was like, yeah. The Ricel thing is important, but there's an island where they're keeping people captive. Like, we should go do that right now.
That's exactly what we're doing yet. Oh, but we're going to the Whistle first.
We're going to Whistle first.
I think we're going to find
I feel
both
like
and.
Yeah, because I was like, oh, okay, so we're gonna leave the Ricel thing for a little bit, and it's gonna be a Moneybag 2 situation where
no, I don't think it can.
this imminent race against the clock to beat him there has all of a sudden taken a back seat to this new NPC's back or this new
we took a back
story.
seat to deliver a bear to its mom. So like, for a penny and for a pound.
Listen. That is classic Tim railroading, because he knows if he puts a baby bear in front of Lennon, like, she's gonna go where he leads her. Like, there's no way that she wasn't gonna follow that.
I don't think it was railroading. I think it was giving, like, it's playing to your players' characters, right?
Well,
like, I don't think that's.
I just mean, like, he steered you guys clearly by knowing that this baby bear, like, there was no way Lennon was gonna find a baby bear and be like, yeah, peace out, baby bear.
Let me throw something at you, Yanis. It occurred to me when that happened. I think he had that conversation, and then he was like, "Oh, like, Callie's on her own." I think he just went, "You hear a mewling. You hear something crying."
That's what I thought too.
And then didn't have a plan where it was going, because he'd like planned out all these different encounters. I think he had like the as soon as Matt said, "Oh, we can just teleport to the Whistle," I think Tim was like, "Oh no, I have all these fun encounters. Like, they're supposed to encounter the giant camp." And he was just like, "You hear a bear." And then I think it was a lot of like, let's see where this goes.
And let's see where she takes it. I think that's the same. Yeah, I have to agree. Like, that's the kind of DM Tim is. He'll see what that gets into situations where he'll pants the players, and then he'll just pants himself. You know what I mean? Like, he'll just like get into situations like, you hear a bear, and then there's, oh, you see some blood, and here we go, and now we're doing this thing. Like, I
also feel like he was trying to like, he really wanted to, I think, with the conversations, I don't know what conversations he had with Chris before, but I think he was really trying to get you guys to cast suspicion on Chris's character.
Oh, yeah.
And as soon as he was like, I'm not Volketh, you guys were all like, cool, good enough by me. Fuck off this other NPC we've known for a while. We're trusting this guy 100%. And I think he was like, well, fuck. That didn't go quite as planned.
I don't think many of us needed a reason to get rid of Wex, even Neppy. Sorry about that. We had some minor technical difficulties, and now we're back.
We lost Cody.
Cody.
We got one of our producers left.
Yes. Yanis, thanks for holding on the producer boat, my friend.
Wait, how will we remind people that we'll get there? Oh no!
Oh no!
I'm just joking.
That was terrifying. So I think what
Wex.
I don't think
Wex.
Wex. We were talking about Wex. I don't think a lot of us needed a reason to get rid of Wex. We were done with him.
I just think it was
been anti-Wex from the beginning.
I just think it was so funny. He made him look like, the bad guy at the moment. He made him pretend to be the bad guy at the moment. And then as soon as you realize 100% not true, you're like, yeah, fuck off, Wex. We're 100% down with this guy. We trust him implicitly. Like, here's the necklace that allows you to teleport, that without this, we'd be fucked. We're just going to give this to you.
We're not fucked without the elemental plane necklace. We're not fucked without it.
No, but it's 90% of how you get around.
Yeah, I like to think Neppy's a good judge. I like to think Neppy's a good judge of character. And I think and I was talking to Tim about this morning. It's like, I think the whole, you are a tiefling from the Amonkhet. We have history, even if it's heritage, a history of our people are from the Amonkhet. You are a son of the desert. This is and then she was just like, well, fuck, man. You're
so
supposed
what you're saying is it wasn't so much your implicit trust of Limerick, and more so just your distaste of
we
Wex.
had someone who could do what Wex would do, And so like, great, we don't need two Wexes.
We don't need two Wexes.
You're bad.
To be fair, he couldn't exactly do what Wex would do. He did get captured, and you did have to save him. So, I mean,
Wex
he's
would have
also $250 a day less.
Yeah, so like,
you gotta watch
think,
those overheads.
I think something for me that was like a big thing is because Neppy had spent so much time with Seven, who was also a changeling. She's like, these people have been persecuted. They have been captured and sometimes some of them tortured, and now, hearing that, Limerick had been experimented on, she's like, yeah, no, because there's stuff that's actionable, like that's going on in my mind about like, what Neppy wants to like offer to Limerick when, the party and he split ways eventually. But I think that like she wanted Wex so badly to like, kind of
to validate her suspicions about like you as a race.
Well, I mean, the tieflings, like in Tim's world at least, the tieflings they're oddities. They're, considered almost like they're like an exotic race. And like I think of like when Neppy was in the Scar the first time and she was called a prize. And that was disgusting. Like I was disgusted by that. And it was just like, but yeah, like, and, even the history with Nepthisiket of like the only people who gave Nepthisiket the time of day were the tieflings, who were also looked down on and also downtrodden and, considered like a lower echelon of people. So she's like, and I, Wex, we have kindredship. Like we're supposed to look out for each other. And we're also from the same place, regardless of how long you've been with the Kluzarek. And it's like, that's supposed to mean something. And it obviously means nothing to you. So Neppy hinges a lot on tradition and a lot on like that sense of propriety that there are certain, codes and rules and structure that you just adhere to. And if he wasn't doing that, so she's like, I don't have time for you. Then if you don't want to do that, if you don't think that that's an honorable thing to hold on to, then bye. Like, I don't need that. So I'm not going to waste any more time on him. That's why she's like, you haven't been worth the 250 gold a day, so you can fuck off, dude. Like, I'm done with that.
I do like that Clack honors his business arrangements, even if like it's Clack that pays him. I'm like, oh, like I'm pissed about that, but I love
that came technically out of York offers, my dude. Like that was
Clack has his own money. Like, also, I could never be mad at Clack.
No, we could never be mad at Clack, our best boy. We could never be mad at him.
Also, just want to throw it out there. Airplane food is probably one of the greatest jokes ever made on the show.
Oh,
Cody's
return!
Got him back.
Thank you. So, just I had the idea like 20 minutes before I made that joke. I think Emma, you said like we're going to the airplane. I went airplane. And
what's the deal with airplane
someone,
food?
like I went, oh, and someone was having a big moment. I just went, save it, Sean. Save it. That joke will keep.
It'll keep and it'll just marinate a little bit. Yeah. No, I
felt good about that one.
It was very good.
And when you called Lennon, Nevada was also very good. Very good.
So
there were
spicy.
A lot of. They were
so spicy.
She's been like, oh yeah, like please, like I kind of like it's a sore spot in terms of like counting things. I know she can be like a little like sensitive about that. And I was like, oh no, you were not supposed to make fun of things that like people that like that could have gotten too real. But I was like, I can't. Today's the day.
I think it was okay because I think of all of us, Len was the biggest fan of all of the memes coming out of Nevada about the counting of the votes.
Yes.
She basically just blanketed our chat with Nevada memes for about 2 days.
Yes.
Okay. So you're saying she had it coming. Oh,
yeah, I know you don't. I know you only check in once in a while in the group chat, but
I can't keep up when I look at my phone and there's 64 new messages. I can't. What am I gonna read them all?
No, Sean, you have to wait until there's 69 new messages, and that's the only time you can check in.
What am I supposed to do with you people?
Sometimes you just get on a good riff and then you just keep going. No, I
do not read for pleasure. Like I read to educate myself. It taxes me to read words.
Scholar.
Such a scholar. Our Blackwater's inner philosopher. Contrary to popular belief, or contrary to what everyone else thinks, I loved that Chris's like limerick presented as Volcath off the top.
Yeah,
great
choice.
Okay, good.
Love
I
that.
thought we were all like, no, that's not a good choice. I was like, no, this is the best.
Mad.
Yeah.
Players love.
Yeah,
I love that.
Great way to like.
No bleed.
Sort of. It was a great way to sort of immediately involve him in the story. Like we've talked before about how difficult it can be introducing new PCs in, whether they be guests or like a player's new character, about like why would your party have any interest in a person?
Yeah.
So him being Volcath like really allowed the group to interact with him more than had he just been some random dude who they had in a net.
I honestly thought he was Volcath.
Yeah,
I was like,
no, 100%.
I thought you were.
I did too.
I was going to be like,
I thought
Tim's having him play the big bad. Are you fucking kidding me now?
I was mad because I literally have been trying to convince Tim to let me play the big bad since we started this, being like, you should introduce me as a regular PC, and then I turn out to be the big bad, and he's like, oh, I don't know, they'll hate you.
And
I was like, I'd be willing to live with that. But also, I had thought originally that like Rysel just took that body, and so I thought maybe he'd found a new body and left. Like he put the ring on someone else, and the original Volcath had come back and been like, oh fuck, where am I? Like all my people are dead. So that's kind of where I like. As soon as he was like, "That's not who I am," I was like, "I don't know if Tim would do them dirty like that." So I thought that, but then the fact that he turned out to be a changeling, I thought was very good. And I actually went back and rewatched it, and this is such a shout out to Chris's playing of this character. He never used information he shouldn't have had. He let you feed him everything.
When you said, "Are you a farmer?" and he said, "Yep, I'm a farmer,"
You went, "What were your profession?" He goes, "What was my profession?" And then you went, "Were you a farmer?" And he's like, "Yes, I was a farmer." And I went back and rewatched it. He never used information he shouldn't have. He let you guys feed it to him, and it was so
I wanted to call
good.
him out for that, but I was like, "Ooh, you like." Maybe he just doesn't know all the lore of the things. Maybe Tim didn't tell him that. Like it's tough to hop.
That's exactly what I was wondering. I was like,
never
maybe
put it
he
past
was
him not to put like Chris and he have been talking for I think a week and a half about him. Like I was relegated to the back half of the house while they had their like Zoom meeting to talk about stuff and all that kind of stuff. Tim was like, "You can't be in the front room." I was like, "But I won't. I'll put my like noise canceling headphones." Nope. He's like, "No, you have to be." And I was like, "Okay." So it was yeah. And no, I know Chris has been really excited about it, and that's why the big thing was like I didn't want to, because I after Tiana so graciously agreed to do the art on like very short notice, and
killed it, by the way.
Oh my god, the art was so good. And it was just like I didn't want to see it. I was like, I don't want to be the go-between. I was like, because usually I'm the go-between for people, and I was just like, I don't want to see it. I was just like, Tiana, just email it to Tim so that I don't. She's like, I'm really happy with this one. Can't wait for you to see it. I was like, I'm so excited. I have to like text her today about it. So yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was played very well. Like it's always nice when you can get anyone to come and guest, but it's particularly nice when you can get someone who like there comes a certain level of like of ability to play when you play a lot and you DM a lot. Mm-hmm. And Chris really brought that sort of like knowing how to interact, knowing how to weave a story of his character in with you guys. I thought it was really I love that.
Oh, that's so good.
Now, one thing I just want to add in terms of like how to like engage a party with a like drop in or guest is like came in as Volcath, so we're like engaged immediately, but then the reason why he looks like Volcath is extremely relevant to our priorities at the time. But also he's not like, "Oh, I'm here to fuck with you." He's like, "I exist, and also by like happenstance I came across this body and now I have these memories, and yes, I know where that body is, and like we need to see that." But
and
we
also like,
don't need to see that. We could have just gone to the island, or like whatever.
And also the like when he dropped the stuff about the Orphea at the end, my mind just like, I think it just like short circuited.
So I really want to know, and I can ask Tim about this, but I really wanted to know whether or not there was a cue. So like I really wanted, like it worked so perfectly that I really want to know whether Tim sent him a message and was like, you have this vision now, because it was such a perfect, like, you arrive at the airplane and then you see then all of a sudden you have these visions, and it was like the perfect cliffhanger like Tim loves to do. And I was like, I really want to know whether or not Tim communicated with him and was like, now's the time for that vision. You know what I mean?
I wonder too if it was just like, if they do any plane shifting. If you're taken out of Garyang, you know what I mean? Like if you're taken out of the place where you've been, like if you do any big teleporting, you'll have this vision. I honestly think like the thing I love about the way that Tim often preps people or works with people with their characters is he often is just like, here is what you know. Here are some instances that could happen to you along the way that might prompt XYZ. Go. And is very much like, you have this information, your choice whether you give it to the party or not. You have these things, your choice whether you give it to the party or not. You know your character, you do your thing.
I just felt the timing of the information given was perfect. If it was unplanned, it was a beautiful piece of like fortune. But if it was like a planned, like, this is when you reveal it at the end, or like at this, that it was very well handled.
I think it was like the only person who knew the end was coming was Tim. Because like the rest of us were still just like, we're here, we're ready to play. And he was like, and that's where we're going to end it. We're like, like we're losing our minds. I could have played for like 2 more hours and have just been like, okay, we need to go figure out what the fuck is going on with the Orphea. Because this is bad. Like this is really bad. And I know for a lot of folks out there who might not understand the full context of the Orphea, like how bad this is. Please trust me when I say that it's very, very bad. And Rysel having the Orphea is very bad.
Well, he doesn't have it per se. He just knows where it is.
I mean,
can't you only get to it if we have the hand? And we got the hand.
I think you can only open it if you have the hand. I think you can take it out of said thing. The guards are dead. He's obviously been to the Forbidden Tomb. He's been in there. He's killed the guards. Like the thing rose up out of this thing, this like covered in multicolored runes. There's no way he's leaving that there. Or the Orphea, like another terrible possibility, sorry, my lore brain is going insane right now, is the Orphea is just exposed and open, unguarded on the Amonkhet. Which, like, Neppy is freaking the fuck out. Like, Neppy is just like, this is so bad. Because, like, after the rift has been closed, and Vel Soom defeated and all that kind of stuff, Neppy's very pragmatic. She's like, I need to have a task, like this is my job, like, and all of a sudden she's like, okay, task 1, ring on my finger. Task 2, seal in my husband's chest. Task 3, but not in any particular order, that Orphea is mine to protect. Like, that is my fucking job. And Neppy is just like, this is not how this was supposed to go. So she's panicking, and she's like, we need to figure this out right now. Because it's bad.
Ooh, so like maybe like pop over to the whistle and then a quick teleport over to the Amonkhet to make sure whether that was like a recent memory or maybe something else.
I have no idea. I am like it just feels like
no,
Cody.
We will soldier on.
We soldier on.
What if the memory was
Rysel's?
It was Rysel's, but was he using the body of Volketh?
No,
in the memory.
He's got Volketh's and Rysel's
memories because Rysel was in Volketh's body.
But he said Volketh's memories were more timid, which I think is just like, I'm not sure if he used the word timid, but it was they are quieter. I love that. Was so poetic. I love that. Well done, Chris.
What if that was a really old memory? And that was his first attempt to steal it.
But
that's what I'm thinking.
Or. Neppy has scryed. I have derailed myself. This is my own problem. Neppy scryed on Volketh during the 6 months.
But he was going to Snow.
No.
He was going to Snow place.
Neppy scryed on him before that. Neppy's done a lot of scrying on Volketh. Okay. Or Rysel, I suppose, in Volketh's body. She saw him in a sandy part of a desert, walking into a tomb underground. This was
also the man
ago.
can teleport.
He can teleport anywhere.
you guys haven't been to the Orphea yet.
Yes,
we have.
Yep.
And but it was sealed when you were
It was
there.
sealed. Yeah. It
And we
was
talked
like
to those big dogs.
it was they were draconic-y kind
Yeah,
of
big
features.
dragons. That's what
Yeah,
I
so there
said.
was
And
4
so-
of them there.
And the hand needed
The Hand of Io.
is corrupted.
It is currently had been melted down and separated. It used to be like one kind of scepter.
Yeah.
It was like a hand and a disc.
And it
which
it was in the possession of
Malsalvakal.
Bakal. Yeah.
Yes. So he broke that. So that
But-
was in the Adventures in Amonkhet in episode 30 or session 35. So a bunch of mercenaries stole that for him. He melted it down, corrupted it to essentially invite the Chained Oblivion back in,
But I'm
and then
saying is-
separate himself into phylacteries.
Rysel wouldn't have been able to get into the tomb without it.
I mean, we got to
So
this like the sarcophagus essentially. So he's gotten into something and
unless he got into it before is what I'm saying. Unless he got in all the way down there before and was stopped before the memory shows.
Yeah.
And then it was all sealed back up.
I mean,
And
it
now
might be.
he knows where it is, but he needs something to reopen it.
The other terrifying thought that I had to, well, not the terrifying thought, but the like thing that I need to do is Neppy's going to scry on it because I can scry on a location.
There we go. We don't have to teleport just yet.
But I can't do it until I'm back on the same plane of existence. So we have to be back in Garyang to do that.
We'll be there in an hour.
We're in an hour. But yeah, so I think that like, and then, so yeah, the Hand of Io was essentially like melted down and then forged into the to the Kopesh that Zesperia was carrying when we fought her at the Forbidden Tomb, when she just had a giant pit of undead things kind of crawling up, which was bad. Apparently, not that we ever saw them because we killed her pretty handily, but those Kopesh were very, very bad if they hit on you twice. Very, very bad. And we have them in the bag. Like Nebby is carrying them on her at all times. And we still have to go to Magrin to reforge those. Like that's another thing Neppy's got to do. It's on my Neppy to-do list of like reforge the
We
Hand
should
of Io.
split up just so we can get more of these things done faster. I think that'd be good.
Yeah, I think we should totally split
Split
the
up,
thing
cover
again
more
and again
ground.
and again.
Yeah. Yep.
You reforge the Hands of Io. Me and Clack will investigate that spooky old barn. That
Also, we found out that there was another Warforged.
Yes.
And as far as we know, there's only been 2.
Well,
right?
the Warforged should all technically have been like in Caradoc, or at least in Caraxian outposts. So the fact that there was a Warforged at near Ceto's Mirror, which is where Limerick escaped from, that is troublesome. And I think it's probably on, it was definitely on my mind that I'm like, we need to go and we need to get that Warforged back because that Warforged shouldn't be there.
So do we know who this woman is who's running this place? Like
Laura? No.
Yeah.
Never heard of her before. Some mage.
I was curious. Some mage doing some scary experiments.
Some scary experiments.
we love fighting mages.
Who was? So she has a Warforged, but she also has a.
She had.
What was the other one that you guys were freaking out about?
Oh, a Nilbog?
A Nilbog.
A Nilbog.
Yeah. Nilbogs are like goblins who are smarter. Nilbog is also the word goblin spelled backwards. So Nilbogs are like, they make you want to worship them, and they're like very good with that kind of like confusion magic.
Okay, we did skip past this on the day because it wasn't relevant, but that fucking we don't know what this is in the mind drugs episode. We don't know what this is, but it makes you like them. I think Tim got the fucking mind flayers to distill a Nilbog's brain into a brain drug, and I want it inside me now. So like
Hold
when
on.
we have time to deal with it,
Oh my god.
I'm fucking injecting that Nilbog. And like, I know magic, you know medicine. Let's team up on this.
Yes. Yes.
I'll be the test
We'll
subject.
create Captain America's.
Nepian letters are the best. I mean, I think Kokenee was there just because he was there because it's
we
a Gravel
needed him
Boys.
to assemble it.
Yes.
wasn't
Neppy was Neppy could direct, but she didn't have like a high enough dex to assemble it. Mm-hmm.
We needed
You
him
need those
for his,
steady
like,
hands.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was not an initial Gravel Boy. We adopted him into
So
the
that he could
Gravel
do
Boys
this,
so that
yes.
he could construct
So
it.
you could use him.
Now you give Neppy a scalpel, and she's fine.
Yeah.
But like scientific
A
equipment, she's
Phillips
like,
head screwdriver?
no, not for my girl. Nope.
Yeah, but we don't. I mean, we can have all three of us in the room, but I think really it's just our
they're
heads
trying to
combined.
they're trying to create Warforged that can change their shape and make people worship them.
Yes, I think that she's trying to create like a super,
or she's trying to put it in herself,
or something like that. Yeah, all I know is that Warforged shouldn't be there.
Okay,
And...
hold on. I don't know if I should even tell you what I just thought, because I don't want to. I don't want you guys. I don't want you to go. I don't want to wreck Tim's shit.
I think like a T8 T1000. Like
no,
it's a robot that can be anyone.
I know that Tim is obsessed with Terminators, but that's not the direction I was going. I'm not going to say it because I don't want it to be the truth, and then you guys got the idea from me, because you guys can't not act on it.
That's okay. Then if it's going to be pushing into action, well, talk to Tim about it. Talk to Tim
about this. It hurts my brain. It's so good.
I love it. Yeah, I am very excited to see where this. I've been loving the Garyang arc so much. It's really cool. I love the arcs that are like primarily role play, and I also love our like big like this is where we're going. I just love having direction.
Can we talk about just the insanity that is the complete coincidental and accidental mirroring of your campaign in Critical Role? Like, I
know.
I'm not up to date with Crit Role. What's
totally
happening?
up to date.
I'm not gonna give any Crit Role spoilers. The thing is, you guys do it like a week before Crit Role does it. They definitely don't watch our show, so no. by no means am I accusing them of stealing.
Tim is also not caught up on Critical Role. At all.
And we're not taking from them, because like a lot of the shit we do, they do after in like a mirror way. But like literally, Sean, just to give you like the cliff notes, they went to a cold ice place, like at the same time as you guys went to a cold ice place. They hired like a dude to guide them through the cold ice place, just like you guys hired. They went to a town where they didn't agree with the people who lived there, just like you guys didn't agree. Like they're chasing someone that they know, racing them to a location in the cold ice place. Like there's just so many sort of like weird parallels in the campaigns.
And like the crazy thing is that like it's not even like Tim is taking things from Critical Role. He's not caught up. Like it's like I know as someone who is caught up with Critical Role, I'm just like, how is this so like
there is like a weird like tied relationship between the two somehow. They're tapping into the same sort of like astral plane to draw campaign story.
We're all astral projecting to the same place. It's cool.
Exactly. Like it's to the point where I have to remember that your campaigns don't cross, like in terms of lore, because
our campaigns don't cross yet.
Yes.
Spoiler, guys.
I'm working on it.
We didn't want to give it away yet, but
no. I mean,
Blackwater is the big bad of this Critical Role campaign.
Absolutely. They don't know it yet, but
they don't know it yet. But
I think it's really cool. It's nice to see too that like I think it's really cool that somewhere out there in the DM ether, in the story ether, that similar story threads or like different pieces can be picked up on at different times, like by different folks.
I think it's really kind of strange. But we should probably talk about like the arc that we're currently discussing.
We should talk about the 6-month arc. So let's roll that intro. Let's roll that intro. Let's roll that intro.
How long did we get? How long did we get without rolling
like
the
a solid 40 minutes.
Yeah. We're just getting it, and we'll roll that intro.
Okay, Cody, do your thing.
And we're back. We're back. Okay, so I'm going to jump in with some announcements here quickly so that
it's not so much an intro anymore as it is just like a random chapter break.
I mean, I will say I really like that we're discussing the previous episodes now, because I know we weren't doing that for a little while, and I really like that we are doing that. It's just we get so excited that we tend to talk.
The show was sort of originally intended as like a catch up and then a talk about, but it's definitely been drifting more catch up heavy.
I like both. I
We
think
like
both
to
is
riff.
good. We like to riff. And we've been, did you know this is our 27th episode? We've been doing this for over half a year now.
27 weeks.
Oh, that's that number
That's
means. I was like, that's
crazy.
a random number to celebrate.
We've been doing this for over 6 months now. This show.
COVID has been a long time.
COVID's been a long
Emma,
time.
We couldn't do this show all on our own, right?
No.
We've been able to do this for 6 months with the help of some very special people.
With the help of some special people. Thank you.
Why
for
is
the
that
segue.
breaking you, Em? Why is that?
Because I'm usually the segue. And now Sean's taking it.
Like
and
the
that means
two-wheeled motor vehicle?
And we have to do it. Okay. So big thank you to our partnerships with Silverwing Armory. And Legend Craft. They are makers of fine RPG products. If you head on over to their Instagrams, you can see links to their shops and websites. We love them very much. And if you'd like anything that you see there, enter the code Blackwater at checkout for 10% off at Silverwing and 5% off at Legend Craft. Make sure you check out Legend Craft's Magna Tracker pre-sale. They have some amazing wood veneers there that won't be available during the Kickstarter. So, and you can use the code Blackwater at checkout for those. A big thank you to our dice goddess Keisha, who we love very much, and our campaign artist Tiana, who like on the fly got us some amazing new art for Limerick for the last episode. Our guest, our wonderful friend Chris Solo from the amazing network Fabled 42, who we love very much. Fast friends of our network. So thank you to Tiana. We love you. We love you very much. Subscriptions and Twitch gaming. If you are someone who subscribes to us, thank you. Also, if you are someone who has gifted subscriptions in the channel, thank you very much. There was many a gift subscription at our show the other night. So thank you very much. And it means a lot to us that you are, supporting our channel financially, which makes us very happy and allows us to do what we do. For those of you who subscribe with Twitch Gaming through your Prime subscription, those do not roll over every month. So please re-up those if that is something you wish to do. On Wednesday, our wonderful friend Bam from our dear friends We D&D at Art Heart Studios will be joining the lads of Blackwater to talk all things DMing on this month's Behind the Screen show. So please come hang out with us Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And I'm so excited for that episode. Bam is such a cool dude and an amazingly talented GM. I'm so excited for you guys to chat with him.
The journey we've gone on as fans of We D&D,
oh gosh.
I don't know if they fully realize over there, but to me it has been one of the most amusing things, because what started off as like there's a bunch of guys and they play D&D super baked and I'm gonna check it out, like haha, isn't that funny, to you guys, we should be concerned because their D&D is like as good as ours, if not better, and they're high. It went from like a joke because the premise seems so funny. Like it seems like a Jay and Silent Bob sort of sketch in concept. And then it turned out to be such a good campaign.
They found their niche. And also
but it's not even a niche. Like even if you don't like weed,
no, their campaign is legitimately
it's a really
very
good campaign.
It's very good. Like Tim stumbled on it one night. Sometimes while Tim and I are bored, we will stumble through D&D streams on Twitch. And he was like, I think I was working one night, and after I was done working, he came out and he's like, "You gotta watch this. I have been watching this for the past 2 hours and I am into it." And I was like, okay. I was like, all right. So I start watching this. I'm like, they're so high. They're so ripped. And this is so fucking good. Like, it was such a good episode and I was like, I'm hooked. So I watch them, and also I love their cast. Like, they're all amazing. And the DM, Bam, has been DMing for a very long time. They're also just the most lovely people. Their community, the Buds, is such a welcoming community. So would encourage anyone, if you're they do a Tuesday night show. So if you don't subscribe to them on Twitch, their stuff is available at 4:20 on Friday afternoons on YouTube. It goes up every 4:20, and they started their campaign on 4:20, April 20th. So I love them very much, and I think that they're fantastic folks. So please go check them out, and we're very excited to have them on the show
what, guys?
on Wednesday.
They're surprisingly chill. Surprisingly chill,
folks.
I don't know what their secret is, but Surprisingly chill.
Surprisingly chill. And then I think that that's about it. Other than that, we have the regular campaign coming back on Saturday. We've have some amazing announcements over the next couple of weeks. We're really excited to bring those to you. There'll be some big announcements coming out on Saturday. And also, Chris Solo will be coming back on Saturday. He's very excited. We are all excited to continue playing with him and Limerick. Sean?
Can I make a pitch?
Pitch me.
Because you're talking about these like we D&D guys are super chill. Is this anything?
Throw it at the wall. Let's see.
Yeah, a show
Let's see.
called High Strung, and it's about a bunch of people who are already neurotic and who get like paranoid on sativa, and they just get ripped on sativa, and it's just people like having the worst kind of high all in a room together trying to accomplish, I don't know, puppetry, because the word is strung.
I don't think anybody wants to be filmed while they're in the middle of a bad trip.
That's the joke. They're already neurotic and high strung. Like they really shouldn't be smoking that strain. But like,
dang, dude. Dang.
Anyways, thank you.
It sounds like an experiment from the 70s where we would now look back and be like, why would they do that to people?
Where were your ethics? Where is your external review board? Like. Bad. As the scientist in the room who has a couple pretty letters after her name, I don't think we can do that.
I don't think on stream, I think we can, it's not a scientific study anymore and it should definitely be encouraged.
Just don't think we should.
You could. Definitely could.
Probably shouldn't. Speaking of things we should be doing, there's
Sean,
my segue.
When you have other ideas, please run it by us. Before you expose
live on the
just
live on the air.
Yeah,
because
this is where good ideas take shape.
Yeah, if it hadn't been for us, there would have been some very unhappy people.
You could have done that.
I'm not saying like be puppetry. Like, yo, it's indica, and then like,
you're
surprise. I'm saying they go into it. They're just high strung and having the exact wrong thing that they should be having.
Gosh,
that's me on every strain.
But yeah, we should. Speaking of things we should be doing, let's talk about the 6-month arc. So
didn't we finish the 6-month arc? Like we got to.
I'm encompassing all the stuff that happened before we left to Manta in the 6-month arc, because that's really when the Vel Soom arc kind of kicked off. So if you missed part 1, never fear, it's up on our history and lore section here on Twitch and also on YouTube. So I am in the process of making audio-only recaps that'll be YouTube exclusives of the Barmwich Arc, and I will also be making them of this arc. It's just like, 3.5 to 4 hours of audio content that I have to edit with a full-time job and a life. So like, it is coming, and I'm very excited about it, but it is coming, I promise.
And the cool thing, if I just hop in, these are the actual recordings that she sent to us, like, at the time.
Yes.
This is chatWater before chatWater, when it was just Andy in her car
just
being
me.
excited about lore, and no one asked for it, but we were all very glad to get it.
I think that is probably the biggest summation of my relationship with the lore behind D&D. Nobody asked for it. Excited to receive it, though. Like,
yeah. Speaking of which, here we are. Let's dig in.
That is I think how everyone feels about our show.
Last time on chatWater,
yes,
Kokenee was summoned by Vel Soom, one of the big bads who his dad works for and who like raised him.
Who might still be alive.
Fucked him up his whole life. Vel Soom is around, and he's like, "You got to meet me here." And
on my boat. And
boy, was the party upset about that. We
were riled up. We were riled up. We were all like very worried and nervous. And we had just come from like Callie and Kamea's like beautiful wedding ceremony, and the like lead up to that where everyone had come back. Like Finnan had come back home after his like 6-month road trip tour around Wolfar, finding himself. And learning about himself. And so last time we talked about episodes like 58 to 61, and we're going to be starting at episode 62, and this one is called When It Breaks. So this happened, so like in game, this happened 2 months ago in game, but this happened January of this year. So it has been some time. That's how D&D time works. So this is like early Elohim, which is kind of like the middle of summer, Kamea and Callie have just gotten married, and then we're at this reception, and then Kokenee gets this missive from one of Vel Soom's guards that says, "Meet me on the boat tomorrow alone." So like we're all freaking out. We go back to Blackwater Keep, and Neppy is just like, she's cast sending to Phil Ennis and is just like, what the fuck is going on? Like, did you know that King Vel Soom left Bacall? And they're like, no, he never leaves. Why is he leave? Like, this is bad. Like, you know, this is bad. You do your work. And I was like, okay. And so we discussed kind of plans to like try and support him while we're down there. Some friends of the party had a boat that said we could go and like sail out and like be close enough that we could cast spells and stuff like that and keep an eye on things. And then so the meeting was supposed to happen the following evening at like sundown. So we have a night to like rest, and I can guarantee you none of the party got a good sleep that night, except for Callie and Kamea. I'm sure they were fine over it. Keep being married for the first time. It was great. So during the day, Kokenee finds Lex, the artisan who he'd met before, and is basically just like, here is my Bible. Take this. This is important. Go be the curator of the temple, because I might not be here to do that. And I'll come and see you tomorrow morning. And I'll come talk to you tomorrow morning. And Lex was like, okay, sure. All right. I've been, a follower of Arathis for a couple months, but sure. So we try and make some like plans just to like, it's almost like Kokenee does like a little tour with all of us and like does his rounds to kind of say not goodbye, but just like touches base with everyone. Callie talks to him, Finnan checks in with him, Kokenee talks to Spooky. And then we get to like probably early afternoon. Neppy and Kokenee are kind of alone at that point. And she's obviously like pretty not okay with all of this. And she's like, I'm going to do everything to keep you safe. So she casts Death Ward on him and is basically like, I need to know your title. Like, what are your epithets and titles? Like, what am I supposed to call you? If I'm supposed to do anything, like if they kill you and I can't bring you back, what am I supposed to call you? And what am I supposed to? And he says, I'll think about it and I'll tell you tomorrow. And I was like, okay. And he starts talking about how he wants a new name and doesn't want to carry the Buckwild name anymore. And they're kind of silent for a moment. And she just looks at him and she says, marry me. I want to marry you. And he was like, yes, absolutely, yes.
I'm surprised he wanted to get rid of the Buckwild name. I mean, Kokenee's pretty weird too. You should have just gone for like a full name change.
Full rebranding?
Like a full, or kept Buckwild. Because that's
I think cool. I think Kokenee, I don't know. I think that it was more about, yes, I understand, but I think it was more about the fact that like the whole like Buckwild line had essentially been indentured to Vel Soom, especially the stuff with his dad. But
it's really I've never really thought of this, but it's really funny to me that they were like not necessarily like a royal family, but like a noble family, and they would literally have been like Lord Buckwild, like.
Hell yeah, dude. I don't know if you ever hang around with any nobles, but
it's pretty
go buck wild.
We have Lady Lightkeeper and we have Lord Buckwild.
Yeah, High Priest Kokenee Buckwild. It was great. And so she like gives him a ring to be like, I think they do this. I don't know if this is the tradition, but I think rings are involved. And he's like, I don't have a ring for you, but I have this like small totem of a dragon. And I was like, yeah, that's great. That's beautiful. It's perfect. So they have this like
a garden gnome.
It's two homeschool kids who've just decided that this is something they want to do. And I was like, at that point, because I knew Neppy had wanted to be married to Kokenee once she had figured out what weddings were and marriage, the concept of marriage was. She was like, yeah, I think I want that with you. I don't think I would ever want it with anyone else, but sounds good. So it felt like a really right moment for me as, playing her to be like, she would ask him to do that. She's very forthright. There's no sense of like, who's supposed to ask who. She would be like, I want to marry you. I'm just going to ask you. do that, and
It's also
you might
like,
die this afternoon, so I'm gonna make that feeling known before that happens.
and it's like a pragmatic nature of like, oh, you want to change your last name? Well, one way that's done is through marriage, so this seems reasonable.
Let's
Neppy
move in
doesn't even
together. Let's
Yeah.
move in together.
Neppy doesn't even have she didn't have a last name. She's just like, I'm just High Priestess Nepentha. That's me. And she was like,
so you guys made up your last name together.
yeah, they took the name
Aw.
together. Yeah, they kind of figured out, like, that was something Matt and I talked about. It was just like, this would be Neppy's, she'd never had a surname before. She was just, Nepentha of Temple Philenis. That was it. So they took the last name together. But yeah, that's later in the story. So we go down to the docks. Finan casts gaze of the two minds on Kokenee so that he can see through his eyes and stuff like that. So we go down to the docks. There's like delegation vessels, merchant vessels, and then we see this like big ass ship that is like golden, and there's a rowboat that's kind of sitting at the end of this dock that will take him out. So he leaves everything essentially with Neppy. He leaves his gun, he goes essentially weaponless and by himself. He has his Cape of the Mountebank on, and that's about it. So they get into this small boat, and Kokenee is immediately like teleported from the boat. There's no rowing involved, like into the small cabin of the ship, which is illuminated by candlelight, super ornate. There's a couple table settings, a bottle of wine, and there's Vel Soom sitting at this table in black robes, wearing this this big black amulet, and his father is present. Puts his hand on Kokenee's shoulder and says, "Good to see you, son," and dispels the death ward immediately. Just gets rid of it. And I was like, fuck. And we're all hearing this through Finan. Like, it was basically like, we get to see this because Finan is there. And Kokenee's father just essentially looks like Brad Pitt, essentially, is what apparently he looks like a older, salt and peppery hair, very muscular, very tanned, very handsome.
So you mean like a current Brad Pitt? I don't know if you've seen him recently.
Yeah, current Brad Pitt. Yeah,
a current Brad Pitt.
I have a Brad Pitt in
you're
Inglourious
like 7.
Bastards vibe. Like,
okay.
Yeah.
Have you seen him now with his goatee?
Oh, probably like that then. No,
Yeah,
I haven't seen him now, but I'm assuming yes, that's probably exactly what it's like.
He's hot. He's a silver fox.
Yeah, that's what it is.
The important thing is he's a lithe, wiry silver fox. Like, he's not bulky. He's lean.
Yes.
Like,
yeah.
Kokenee takes after his dad in that way.
Mm-hmm.
Lean muscle, smooth,
lean muscle. Very
light on the feet,
smooth,
very smooth, completely hairless. It's a wig.
But Alamir is more muscular than Kokenee by
it's like
far.
the weirdest description of something. My friend, his name's Bill. He's very smooth.
So we're.
You felt Bill?
Have you felt Bill? It's like ice.
So Kokenee is basically just sassing Vel Soom, basically being like, "Oh, so I hear you stopped the slave trade." And Vel Soom was like, to a point. Vel Soom pours some glasses of wine. Alamir and Vel Soom have one. Kokenee does not. And Vel Soom talks about that, Kokenee's been busy. He's been sending things that are very rare, but that he heard that there was an attempt on Kokenee's life, an assassin from the Order of the Key. Kokenee kind of denies the knowledge, knew someone tried to kill him but didn't know, and Kokenee knew, I think. And that he figures out that the Order of the Key, who were assigned with essentially protecting the world from Tharizdun, like another order, a secret order, likely related to Ayun, I think, are assigned with protecting the world from Tharizdun. So Vel Soom is going to make sure that the order is no more, is going to be dispatched, that he's discovered that the order extends here onto in Wolfreen, and that they have the person who tried to assassinate or ordered the assassination of Kokenee. And they throw Hector Turnbuckle, who we knew was an uncle of someone that we had kind of met back and forth throughout the campaign and had traveled with us for a while. And Kokenee's like, "I'm not going to kill him. I'm not going to do that." And Vel Soom is like, "You have to kill him. He tried to kill you. You have to kill him." And then Vel Soom is just like, "Well, if you're not going to do it," Alamir comes in and just stabs Hector, just kills him right in front of Kokenee. talks to about, Kokenee talks to him that like he's, tells him of their cruelty and that he's not alone anymore. And he basically gives Vel Soom an ultimatum that is just like, leave me alone. Like, either kill me or leave me alone. Like, I don't know what you want from me. I'm not going to do what my dad is doing for you. Leave me alone. And Vel Soom is like, well, you're family to us. And Kokenee is just like, you either have to kill me or let me go. So, Vel Soom talks about like hoping to bring you good news that the slave trade was over and that those people no longer belong to other people. However, your heart belongs to me. And Vel Soom reaches his hand out and then rips the heart out of Kokenee's chest, just with like one movement. And Kokenee falls to the ground in the ship. And he feels like, as he feels like this blackness kind of seep in, he feels like his body is kind of caught and lowered to the floor, this cold sensation and stillness, like some part of him is still held together in stasis. And they basically take him up on top of the deck and they throw him overboard.
So he was transported to the cabin in the same ship, though, luckily.
That's the whole thing. He wasn't actually on the ship we thought he was on. He was on a different ship. Someone tried to dimension door onto that ship, and that ship didn't exist. It was a complete illusion. So we had no fucking idea
where
just in
the water
was.
Somewhere
he
random.
Was just in the water somewhere random. So we were standing essentially on the docks, like watching the Golden Dawn ship. And then it turned out that ship was, go ahead.
Can we go back just for a second? So Finan is watching this all through his eyes.
Yes.
And is he relaying to the group what's happening? So what was Neppy going through when Kokenee was like, kill me or let me go? Because I assume that's not something he was like, I'm going to make an ultimatum where he either kills me or he lets me go.
No.
Did he tell Neppy he was going to do that?
Neppy knew that he didn't want to be beholden to them anymore. And
but
Neppy
you would never have agreed to let him go and like essentially tell him to kill him or set him free.
Neppy wasn't about to put any type of rules on what he was going to do there at all. And knowing what Neppy knows, and like Neppy and Kokenee had long ago made a promise that it's like, no matter where you are, no matter what's happened to you, I will find you and I will never stop looking for you.
So
ever.
you must have been freaking out.
I was.
It was happening.
I started crying the second his heart was ripped out of his chest. And Neppy was also like, Neppy has a spell called Death Candle. So it's like the candle we talk about with Callie and Kamea, because she has a death candle for Callie. So Neppy essentially has someone hold a candle in front of her and she lights it, and that candle stays forever lit as long as they don't die. Neppy was, because we couldn't really see in, Neppy was standing on the dock holding a candle, just holding his death candle, just like staring at his candle.
Did it snuff out?
Yeah. And she just like fell to her knees and was just like, fuck. She was just so overcome. So Neppy, Finan could like, once Kokenee, I think because he was still in stasis, Finan could still see through his eyes for some reason. So we knew that he was like getting thrown overboard in the water. So Neppy was like, okay, I can't cast locate creature on him, which I had prepared that day because he's not a creature anymore. He's an object. And I had also prepared locate object, not necessarily for this purpose, but I was glad I had prepared it. So I cast locate object on him, and we found essentially Neppy caught sight of him, like felt like that he was about 700 feet offshore hitting the water.
And that's that's 1,000-foot range. So that's pretty lucky.
Yeah. So Neppy basically grabbed out of her bag a Caraxian breathing mask, which we had in there. She strapped it on and cast, and she was just like, Callie, fly me. So Callie picked her up and started just flying Neppy out towards where she was going. And as that was happening, Spooky turned herself into a polar bear, or like Neppy essentially on the docks just stripped off her armor and threw it on the breathing mask. Was like, Callie, take me, I'm going now. so she went, and we were on the ship called the Kildavin, and they started sailing the ship towards the direction that they saw Neppy going. But as that happened, there was this crack of lightning from the sky. This sickly yellow, like the essence of the chain of oblivion.
So like yellow, like the sky went eventually.
Yeah. And this bright yellow arc appeared over the Gatestone Keep and just went like straight down. And all of a sudden we turn around and all of the ships from Bacall are fucking leaving. They're just going. They're just gone. And Finnan manages to figure out through, like, with someone that we were traveling with at that point, where the cabin of the ship is. And he and this other person dimension door in, and they start fighting Alamir. And it's bad because Alamir is like handing it to both of them.
You guys were not ready for him yet.
No, and it was just two of them at that point. It was Finnan and someone else. And so, like, the other person that was with her grabbed Finnan and just dimension doored back because it was just like, fuck, we have to let them go. So at that point, like, we were kind of, so the sky is cracking, and Callie's like, oh fuck, Kokenee is at the Gatestone Keep. So she's like looking at Neppy. She's like, I'm going to drop you and then I have to go. Neppy was like, absolutely, you have to go. So simultaneously this is happening. So like the Kildavin is sailing over to where Neppy is, like, now essentially swimming straight down, like 350 feet below the surface of the water to go find Kokenee. She finds him. I think I'd cast guidance on myself before I was swimming, and I grabbed Kokenee, and then Neppy has a ring of water walking. She was still wearing it at that point, so I activated the ring and just like got myself straight to the surface. So we she pulls him up on deck, and the crew of the Kildavin help her pull him up on deck, and he's like, lying there, and he's got this the metal plate is still in his chest where his heart was, but there's nothing underneath it. And she sees this like faint blue shimmer on top of him, very similar to like when she first found Torin in Caradoc. So she's like, this is Arathis. Arathis is doing something here. So she like prayed to Nepthiseket because she knew that she couldn't cast Revivify on him because his heart's not in his chest. He didn't have a heart. So she like prayed to Nepthiseket, and she's like, please tell me what to do. Like, I can't lose him, please. Like, I can't lose him now. And she's like, Nepthiseket's like, his fate is not in my hands. And I was like, okay. So she asks Spooky to reach out to Arathis because Spooky was starting to build a connection with Arathis at that point. And she feels like the warmth in the necklace that Kokenee has kind of radiate through her, and she and Neppy share this vision of a brass plate engraved with moving cogs. And it was a sense of just like, Neppy's first thought was like, do we have to build him a heart? No, Arathis has to build him a heart. So she was like, we have to give it back to him. We have to like warm him up and get him some protection. And the only way we can do that is to take him to Arathis. But there is not time for that right now because the sky is fucking breaking over here. So this is all happening while Callie is fucking booking it towards the Gatestone Keep.
Knowing what we know now in the sessions that we've played live, breaking a seal of the Chained Oblivion required someone to be killed in order to break, correct?
Yeah.
Was it Kokenee's death that broke the seal, or was it, excuse me, Kokenee's death?
Yeah, so Vel Soom, because it was Vel Soom that did the killing, Alamir killed Hector.
Oh, yes.
And that was kind of a know-nothing kill to him. But Kokenee's heart
wasn't the seal yet.
No,
Okay.
So the Gatestone Keep. The Gatestone monument outside the Gatestone Keep was the seal. Yeah, that was the seal of that Paylor had instilled in. So so that kind of cuts, so that Neppy's now got Kokenee on the deck, and they they go down again, and they get Hector, and they bring Hector back up as well. So Callie gets to the Gatestone Keep, and all of the other, and she just like looks at the rest of the party, and Neppy's like, I'm gonna stay here. I can't leave Kokenee and Hector. Like, I can't. While the rest of people are going to find Hector and stuff like that. The crew was going down to find Hector, or she went down again or something like that. She's like, I can't leave them. Go find Callie. Something very bad is happening. You need to go. I'll join you shortly. So Callie, she like calls to Nissa and is like, something is wrong. Like, Kokenee's dead. Like, what do I do? I need to deal with Arathis. She's like, go to the temple, meaning Arathis' temple. And this is like, the Gatestone body is destroyed, or the Gatestone keep is destroyed. She's like, but I just had a vision. I saw Kokenee's body in her workshop, Arathis' workshop. You need to go there. You need to take him there. And Neppy was like, okay, I can do that. I can take him to the elemental plane of ice. I can get there shortly. So the rest of the party goes to the Gatestone keep. And there is like these scorch marks that have like spiraled out from the Gatestone monument, and there is a rift that is open, and these Garistro, there's like 2 Garistro that are climbing through, and demons upon demons are just like spilling out from this. And Finnan and Spooky and Letters are all on their way up there. Callie arrives first. She knocks out the Garistro, and it just fucking smokes her. Like, it knocks her out of the sky. It hits her so hard. And then Callie hears a screech of an owlbear. And like, I'm like, well, because Kamea's come out too, and like she's in her owlbear form. So like they're fighting alongside each other. Clack and like aims the Wand of Wonder at this Garistro. And this bolt, like, it disappears, and there's like a boulder that disappeared, because it's of course a Wand of Wonder at that point. There's like, Letters does his Tensor's transformation. There's like a bunch of things happening, and Neva comes out and starts fighting, and they manage to kill the Garistro.
I recall this is actually a numbers session.
Was this numbers? This was numbers. I was piloting numbers at this point.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was actually, I was going to ask 2 questions, and one of them was, and this kind of, that knowing that answers the question kind of, but I was going to say, like, as a player, and like, how did it feel not getting to participate in this big battle? But I guess you kind of sort of surreptitiously did through numbers, but like, it's quite a decision to make as a character to sit out a battle when you could be useful. Like, that's one of the things that Tim does that's so great as a DM, is like, as soon as you said that Callie left to go to Kamea, I'm like, Tim always does this. He puts you guys in situations where you have allegiances and ties that are outside of your group, that you feel beholden to or responsible for other people. And he's constantly putting you in situations where the group could break up. Like, he's constantly putting you in situations where the group has to choose
where they go,
and they have to choose to stand by one another. And like, I was going to say, like, how do you, like, go like, okay, I'm going to stay here, which is 100% the correct character choice. But like, as a player, like, there's a certain like responsibility you feel to assist in those kind of battles.
I think for me, it was the fact that, like, Neppy knows that, that she will be needed, and that was her plan, was to get there as fast as she could. But she's like, I can't. Hector wasn't up from the bottom of the ocean at that point, so she's like, I can't leave him down there, because he's part of the Order of the Key, and this is essential to like my role, my job, to stop the chain oblivion and the chaos and all that kind of stuff. And not to mention my husband, or not my husband, the person that I love, I guess, now at that point, fiance, as of like a couple hours, is dead or in some form of stasis, and I have to figure out what to do. And I'm not leaving him. And I think that because yes, of course, like, she also has an immense trust in her friends, like the party, that it was just like, you're going to go and you're going to do that. And I'm not going to be helpful to you until this is taken care of, because this is also important. So we don't all need to be here with Kokenee. Let me do this. Let me be here. And also, our friend just died. Let me carry that for now. Neppy being the person who is just like, can carry death in all its forms. Just be like, let me carry the death, and let me feel the grief of it, because you folks in this party are confident that I can bring him back, that I will do my job as his partner and the grave cleric in the group who deals with death all the time. Let me carry that weight. So Neppy was like, you don't have to stand here grieving. Go now. So that was my kind of thinking in that standpoint. It was like, I can't have you sit here. We can't all be grieving here while the world is being ripped apart and the abyss is spilling in. And I'll join you shortly once this is dealt with. Yeah. So it was pretty wild. And then the like creatures started to scatter, and there was a tear and like this scar in the earth, and there was like a bunch of creatures climbing out, and then everyone started to try and like fill it with rocks to try and like push some of the creatures down. And then it was almost like it was so late that night at the end of that session. It was like, I think it was midnight, and we were like, we have to call it for tonight. And we were all like, no. So then we played I'm just looking at the dates here. Yeah, we played the next week. And so we started off with Neppy at that point. So this is session 63 called The Threads Converge, happening simultaneously from the previous episode, where Neppy is like on the ship with Kokenee and Hector, and she casts gentle repose on the both of them, and she starts like cleaning and prepping both of them, like just like, I'm here, I have a couple minutes, I can't get to the group fast right now, so I'm just going to do my job. She gives the crew of the ship some money, and is just like, you take care of the ship, this is your charge now. And then she hears a whinnying, and she sees Shadowfax has arrived. So Finn and Hedge sent Shadowfax to her. And so like before that had happened.
Shadowfax is so fucking clutch.
Yeah, I know, so clutch, right?
If
Phantom
we had like an 8th member or whatever, it'd be Shadowfax.
It'd be
like,
Shadowfax.
For sure.
So like while she's doing that, she's sitting with Kokenee, and she's basically like holding his hand, basically, and like, I'm so proud of you. You were fearless in the face of things that have beat you down before, and I'm going to come find you, and I'm going to get you back. As I promised you, no prophecy, no sultan, and no grave can keep me from you. So I'm going to come find you. So Shadowfax arrives, and she essentially puts Hector and Kokenee in the bag. She's just like, it's a clutch Neppy move, putting bodies in the bag of holding. So she puts them both in, and she rides to the keep. First, she checks on everybody in the keep, and is just like, there might be people coming here for shelter. Offer them shelter. She goes to her and Kokenee's room, grabs all of his things. She searches through his bag if there's any instructions, and she remembers that his Bible is with Lex because it's not with her. So she sends to Lex. She's like, where are you? She's like, I'm at my house. She's like, I'm going to be there in like 2 minutes. You need to get yourself ready. So she goes to Lex's house and is just like, hey, Kokenee entrusted you with this. He's dead. I need your help. Will you come with me? She's like, yeah, absolutely. Let me get my dog. And so it's Matt playing Lex as of this point, which was so great, which is really nice for him to be able to keep playing. So Lex is an artificer and like a artificer cleric, and has a steel defender dog named Otis. Otis. We love Otis. So then Neppy's just like, we're going to the Gatestone Keep. I am the only one who can ride this horse, so I have to go very quickly. So meet us there. Lex is like, okay, I'm going. And so Neppy like looks down to Shadowfax and is like, take me to your master. And like she fucking takes off towards the Gatestone Keep.
Show us the meaning of haste.
Yeah, right. And so she gets there, and everyone is just basically like, okay. What just happened? So they're at the rift. Finnan chases down some rogue demons that are in the city, and Nissa arrives with just like an opaque, puts like this giant fucking force wall around the rift, and it is like everything that she is doing to keep this force wall up. And then this group of paladins and a white-robed figure come out, and this is Sunspeaker Ogren Halskani. So he is the high priest of Pelor. And he comes in, and it's just like he slams down this giant rod, and this wave of divine energy goes in, and we see the rift start to tremble, and it starts to close. And it is basically like 24 hours of these priests and acolytes that are going to be praying to close this rift and hallow the ground. They're doing it in shifts, and they're just taking like everything out of them to do it. So we group together. Neppy is there, the group is there, and we're all just like, Neva is like, Kamea, you cannot run off like that. You are the queen. And Kamea is like, I'm not going to leave my people out here. I'm not going to not go fight. And Neva's like, you're the queen now. This is ridiculous. And it was very intense. These were like a very intense couple sessions. Emotions were so high, and we were all just like, we gotta do something. And this was like, oh man, this is so good. So we're like, hey, this is Lex. She's going to come with us because she is
Here's Lex.
Here's Lex. And she is, again, another NPC turned PC that Tim had a really great way to like blend into the group. So we kind of learn a bit more about the seals. We kind of figure out what's happening, like Tharizdun leeching chaos into the world. Finnan had encountered more problems and more aggressiveness out in the world where it used to be quite peaceful.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
that was a whole thing. Like the world, like sky getting yellow, but the world was just getting bad.
Yeah,
like
so
fucking toast was falling jam side down. Like cats were getting along with dogs. Like it was
crazy.
It was fucked up on a lot of ways.
Went from like how Lennon liked it to how M liked it. We were on the M scale
Everyone
of toast.
just preferred their toast burnt and like unrecognizable. Like it was bad.
It was bad.
It was bad. Breakfast was bad for everywhere.
Yes.
Because of the toast being made to this new bad preference.
Absolutely. So we're there in like the middle of the Gatestone Keep, and we realize that Hector is dead and that we have the capability to revive him at this point because he has all of his body parts. Because we also know that he has a lot of information being part of the Order of the Key. So we raise him, Ray's dead at that point, and he comes back and tells us that he is the prime guardian of Wolfreen. So he is the prime guardian of the Gatestone Keep, and he talks about how he had been kidnapped and tortured by Vel Soom, and Vel Soom had extracted the information of him, and he laments that he failed. And it was just like, we're like, no, like you did the best you could. He's an awful, evil man. And so like, that we knew that Hector was in the Order, and he did try to have Kokenee killed. He does admit to that. And he knew where he was from, and he knew he worked for Vel Soom. And he really believes that Vel Soom is strongly tied to the Chained Oblivion. And we're like, yes, if anything proves that he is tied to the Chained Oblivion, this is it. And Neppy starts talking about some of the past priestesses in her order who have all had ties with the Chained Oblivion. And it's just like, this has been happening for a fucking long time, and it needs to stop. Like, we can't have this anymore. So we know that like Kokenee's mission, even though he didn't know, was to find the seals. So like he was sent out to be a treasure hunter and collect these rare objects, but he was actually out trying to find the seals. So he had sent the Staff of the Moon, or which is I believe it's called the Staff of Isilme, back to Vel Soom, thank you. And that was a seal. The Gatestone Monument had already been destroyed. The Hand of Io had already been destroyed. So like at this point, we're losing. We're like on the losing side. There are not a lot of seals left. There is a seal in Clore. There's a seal in Cinderfall. There's a seal in Caradoc. And there's a seal in the Forgotten Expanse. So we're just like, okay, we've got to fucking gain some ground here because we are losing poorly. So Neppy is like, okay, we're going to go. We have to go right now to see Arathis, right now. And she looks at Lex and she's like, would you like to meet your god? I think is what she said to her. She was just like, would you like to meet your god? Because that's what I'm asking you to come do. And Lex was like, yeah. Lex was like, good. Okay, we're going. So
1 second, I have some stuff I'd like her to sign.
Right, please. So Neppy is just like, all right, we're going to see a god. Everyone needs to have a sense of reverence and decorum.
This is where the reverence really popped off.
This is where reverence really started.
Give Neppy an inch and she will take a mile. Like once she gets a taste for the reverence, it never goes away.
No, Neppy loves
reverence once, and now everywhere we go, reverie. Oh, wait, that's a different thing.
Reverie is much different than reverence. Much different.
Why don't we ever do reverie?
We do.
We do reverie.
We do, though, except the world starts ending. That's why we're not allowed to have parties, because then the world starts ending.
This is why we can't have nice things.
This is why Blackwater can't have nice things. And exactly, the money hole happens. So we plane shift to the plane of ice using the talisman, and we land in this kind of unfamiliar place, this hall that's made mostly out of metal with windows with like frosted glass. And it's like, we've been here before when Neppy reached out to speak to Tauren, and when we originally encountered Arathis' plane when we freed her the first time. So we see this like golden light emanate through the doors open, and this woman, this large female figure, steps forward. And as she steps forward to us, she starts shrinking down to like humanoid size, and she has this large dog with her. She's got kind of like a strawberry blonde, kind of curly hair.
The woman,
she's wearing,
not the dog.
The woman, not the dog. Yes. She's wearing glasses that have like multiple frames that can flip in and out. She's wearing this beautifully carved set of armor that is moving and it's intricate. And like, this is Arathis, and she has been doing some work. Lady has made this plane her home. And she's ascending, and that the ice plane is now going to be her home. So she's like, nobody will be able to access the plane. I'm sealing this off, but I will do this for you. So like Nepi lays Kokenee's body out in front of her, and she, Arathis talks about how she feels herself more present in the world because of Kokenee and because of his care for her, and thanks the group for bringing him to her. And she looks at them and she's like, I'm not fully myself yet, but once I ascend, I will be. She looks at the group and she's like, I need Cogman. You need to go to Caradoc and I will take you there and I'll meet you at the Temple of Caradoc, but you need to bring Cogman. And we're like, okay. And then she's like, you need to leave Kokenee here. And we're like, Nepi's like, okay, yep. I am going to leave my recently dead fiance here. All right. I trust you because you're a god. Sure. Okay. I do trust you. So we go, we get bamfed. Go ahead, please.
Just one of my favorite moments was when like Arathis showed up. Fucking Finnan cast Armor Vagathis, just like kind of instinctively like, oh, this could break bad. And she was just like, like dispelled it like immediately, like, and just like gave him a look like not even mad, just like, what are you doing? Like, this is my fucking realm as a god. Don't cast a spell in front of me. She didn't say that, but that's.
But it was just a look of just like, oh, just don't do that.
Yeah, it's like the fucking adults are talking, and like, I was like, Nepi, you're the most reverent. Clearly, you're the one I need to talk to.
So Nepi thanks her for doing this. And taking care of him, and she's like, okay, we'll go and we will meet you there. So we go, we get bamfed to Caradoc, and we get sent into the temple that we'd been in before in Caradoc, and it's barricaded from the inside at the base of the Mother's Eye. The ice has melted and Caradoc now exists like fully exposed. The rift between the plane of ice has been sealed, and now it's open to the elements. So we see these like structures of copper and bronze that are all just like shining in the sunlight, and it's beautiful. We see this elven woman there. She's got like short hair, claw marks across her face that are healing, and she's like, Nepi's like, hello, we've been sent here by Arathis. We need to find Cogman. Where is he? And they're like, oh, he's in the armory. We've been trying to get him out. We're like, great, we're going to go break him out of the armory. So we push our way through the doors and we go out, and there's this like cacophony of sound. There is activity on it, and there's this flying creature, this giant flying creature taking surveillance.
Bad owl.
Yeah, so there's one group that goes.
It was a big bad owl.
It was
like
a big bad demon
owl.
A demon lord.
Awful.
Yeah, it was bad.
We hate that thing.
We hate that thing. So part of the group went to go and find Cogman. Finnan and a couple others went to go that we were traveling with at the time went to go find Cogman. They snuck up on some Garistro. They managed to get into the armory, and we talk about kind of like, the creature has Cogman's arm. This like giant flying creature has Cogman's arm. And so Finnan thinks, he's like, okay, Arathis is going to put Cogman's heart that keeps Cogman running in Kokenee's chest. And we're like, yes, that's probably what's going to happen. So they go and they get, and we find a familiar face that we had seen before, Soren Brightwing, who was the Dragonborn who we had met in Fawe Tavar very, very early on in the campaign, who had essentially set us on the path to Mother's Eye. We'd been trying to help her get into the Magic Academy, and that was like her task. And we were like, yeah, we'll help you do this. So she's, we see like she's like, okay, in the armory there are some Warforged that are not activated. There's like, please help us get out of here. Cogman has his like a special gun that comes with him called the Lawbringer. Such a badass. And there's like a war hammer that has a giant cog on it. And like they just start breaking their way out of the armory. And then the rest of us, all the loud people, start drawing distractions away on the other side. And that was the end of that episode. So we are essentially, go ahead.
I am not mistaken.
Yeah.
That was the OG.
That is like, where the OG
that was
goat.
The first place where we found the goats, because we got ourselves stuck in a little alley so that the Greastros couldn't get at us.
Yes.
But just goat after goat after goat. Like
Tim was just making those noises, and it was just like I have here. Garistro arrives. We start hearing cackles. Goats? question mark is in my notes. So we are trying to make our way, the rest of us are trying to make our way back through the city to draw all the attention towards us so that everyone else can get Cogman back to the temple. And we start trying to fight this goat demon, or this like flying owl demon. And you dispelled a circle of death spell in this. Letters dispelled it, which was
That's
really
what I do. I don't like other people casting spells. I get jealous.
And something we really noticed, that when this demon started casting magic, the magic looked very similar to Spooky's magic. It was yellow and like there was chains and like desiccation. It was bad. So we fight our way through, and the other group with Finnan managed to get Kokenee back to the temple, and we managed to like pull out of this like area that we were in, and kind of like shore ourselves up. So Cogman, is firing shots through the city trying to get themselves back to the temple. And when they get back to the temple, this metal plate, they open the set of metal doors, and Cogman goes over to the seal and puts his hand up on it and opens the seal to the ice plane. And he steps through it. And he the center of his chest opens up, and this shard of Arathis emerges with like intricate workings, and he places his hand on the seal and like basically puts the seal while holding it on the door, and he steps through it. And we don't see what happens because none of us are there. And then a couple minutes later, Kokenee walks back through.
Let me just make sure I heard you right. So we didn't see what happened because none of us were there, but a couple minutes later, someone who we presume to be Kokenee walked through the door. Is that correct?
So Cogman went in.
Yep.
And Kokenee was dead.
Multiple minutes passed that no one could see.
And then someone who's alive, but wearing the skin of Kokenee,
who appears to be Kokenee.
Yeah, but could be Cogman underneath Kokenee's skin.
Or anything. Sure. Then walked out. That is correct? That's what you're saying?
That is basically what happens. We do have an account of what happened in the room, though, which I will get to in a moment. So Kokenee walks through from Kokenee. So Kokenee walks.
Okay. So we're going on faith that the individual who walked out of the room is in fact Kokenee, and we can trust them in terms of what happened in the room.
So Kokenee walks through this light, and there's this glass plate covering where his heart was. These concentric circles that are moving. He has Cogman's gun, and he has his own. His vision comes back to him. And the voice,
pretty suspicious.
Not even his own weapons anymore. He's got Cogman's weapons now.
He's got Cogman's weapons. He's got Cogman's
The voice
heart,
of Arathis. I hate both of you because this is just going to confirm you both more. He hears the voice of Arathis over his shoulder. She said, "I took some time to make some improvements. You now carry the seal in your chest. You are the last line of defense." Fuck. I'm never going to live this down.
I took some time to make some improvements?
Yeah, like you're not human anymore.
She admitted it. He's a skinwalker. Like, he's a robot.
And you know how obsessed Tim is with Terminators.
I know.
Like, this should not surprise you.
I know.
That he put a Terminator in the game.
So in any case, what happens when Kokenee walks out of the rift, we start hearing this
he
hum.
Says, "Come with me if you want to live."
To live, yeah. No, we start hearing this hum erupt, or like start building in the rift to the ice plane. We start hearing this hum, and the Warforged near us turn on. And this hum, and there's movement, and mechanical life seems to be breathed into the city, and it's just like explodes outward and just wipes all of the demons out of the city. Arathis was just like, "Blah, blah, motherfuckers," and I'm gonna just dispel the demons from my city.
And Arathis said, "Blat, blat, motherfuckers." Exactly. And the demons were vanquished.
Yes, the demons went blat, blat. So I'll stop a bit here after we do this last little section, before we reunite with Kokenee. So jumping back a bit, so Kokenee is essentially pulled from the darkness, lying in Arathis' workshop, feeling like no time has passed. And Arathis is like, there's like tools around, some machinery models, some miniatures, and she looks at him and says, "Welcome back." And she's like in her ascended form. She's like 12 to 15 feet high, and she just kind of shrinks to her scale. And he sits up feeling achy and exhausted. She heals him and restores his hit points. And she says his resurrection has come at a price. His heart is now a seal, and she looks down, and there's this intricate concentric brass and gold and iron circlets in the plating. And as he feels it beats, he feels the moving and the shifting of the cogs that are in it. And she said it was a gift from an old friend. So she said, I'll have to build Cogman a new heart, and he can stay with me here. And Cogman had known that this day would come, and that he would, because he was the prime guardian of the seal in Caradoc. So he knew that there would be a time where Arathis would call on him for this, and he accepted it willingly, because he was the first Warforged, the first one she ever created. And so Arathis tells him that it is a small key encased inside his mechanical heart that will be vulnerable to breakage if he dies. Cogman also wanted him to have the Lawbringer, his gun, which is a double-barrel pistol, and which was made by Maribel, one of the best gun makers ever, who used to live on the Amonkhet. And Kokenee realizes he's missing his holy symbol because Vel Soom took it. And Arathis' dog pads in and brings Kokenee a new holy symbol. And she thanks him for his help and says, you have more work to do. And then essentially gives him a hug. Like, they hug. It's very sweet, because the like mother-son relationship is like really sweet. I think what's something that's really cool is the way that Tim portrays the gods with each of their, like, I think of the way that Nepthisiket is with Nepi is so different than the way that Arathis is with Kokenee. It's very much like a mother-son kind of thing. And then she's just like, okay, back you go. And she kind of pushes him back through the rift, and this just like giant radiant pulse emanates out, obliterating the Garistro and the Wraiths and all the demons throughout the city. And that's where we'll end it for today.
Blat.
Blat, motherfucker. Yeah.
His heart
yeah.
is only vulnerable when he's dead.
Yes.
So when he's alive, it can't just like accidentally break.
No, it's only vulnerable when he's dead.
So he can't like fall and then it cracks and he's like,
no.
oh fuck.
No.
Yeah, there's just like one pointy rock that he just falls slightly wrong on, and the sky just breaks.
Yes. Yeah. So
you'll have to go through me to get the seal. Oh shit.
Oh shit. Yeah. No. So that was, we got to session 65 today. So that was pretty good. We got through
4 more to go.
Well, we only got through the part way through session 65, but we have, because I think, so basically this arc.
Did you say you've got like 4.2 to go? Like,
nice.
4.20.
Oh, like yeah. Yeah, probably.
So the sex number and the weed number. Catch up, Grandma.
Okay, pal.
Wow.
So we started streaming at episode 72, or session 72. So we have essentially 5 or 6 sessions worth of content to get to before we started streaming, and that is the end of this arc. And that's when we started streaming, and then we can do a deep dive into other things. But yeah, so that's where we are right now.
Get you up to speed, everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. Getting you up to speed on the history of Blackwater through chatWater, which is what we do here.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
Good chatWater, everybody.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. We will be back with, check out Wednesday night. We will have our friends on from We D&D for Behind the Screen.
Yes.
Where we will chat all things DMing, but also particularly DMing while ripped.
Yeah.
And not physically ripped. I mean, I don't know. They might be jacked, but a different kind. And then on Saturday, Chris will be joining us again for another episode of Blackwater D&D.
Absolutely.
He has the sweetest last name. Like
Solo?
His parents missed a real opportunity.
Wait, I assumed that was like a show name or whatever. That's his like.
Yeah.
Oh.
A great
well
name.
Done.
Great. Well done, parents. Yes.
I gotta be honest. Most weeks I'm pretty chill about like waiting. Like I'm like, yep, Saturday's gonna come. I have a life and stuff. Like we'll get there when we get there. This week?
No. I just want to play.
I want it now.
It feels like the Barmwich Arc all over again. It feels like that kind of like pull and draw for when we
there's
want
like
to play so bad.
There's like a time pressure feeling.
Yes.
Where
you could say we're in a state of flow, which is what's really cool is including Limerick. Like the amount of time we went like storming, norming. All right, sweet, now we're there.
Yeah.
Like the forming was visceral, and then it was over, and we're like, sweet, now we're gonna.
Well, the forming when we kind of met him at the group, the storming was like, we're gonna fucking kill you.
Yeah.
And then it was just like, you're not him? Great. This is a norm. Cool. You fit in with us well. Great. Let's go fight these giants. Cool. We're great now.
And you're going to crit on the main giant? Sick. You're the guy.
You're the guy. No, we
Wex
like
never critted on a fucking giant chieftain.
No, Wex never did shit.
Wex turned into a stinky
so
fart
salty about
Wex.
We are so salty
So
about
salty.
Wex. Also, can I say how desperately this party has needed a rogue for so long, that so many people have just been trying to be one rogue. Like Neppy's like, I'm gonna make this easier for you. Kokenee's like, I'm gonna try and pick a lock because I'm the dexiest person in this party. Finn's like, I can see through stuff and have the ability to detect magic and be really sneaky. And there's like 7 and Letters being really, and Liana being great with investigation. We're all just like, can someone just be a rogue, please? Like
the fact that we have 2 sneaky Pete's, well, maybe 3 with like, we have enough sneaky people that we can have like a strike team, while the loud noisy boys like the big dumb idiot me owl, me land on snow.
Yes.
Like
me wear heavy armor, me be loud and jingly. Like that's
you're like basically wearing bells as like part of your
all of our bracelets.
Business.
That is absolutely canon.
Nepthysicat puts that on her followers so that they can't sneak up on birds.
Absolutely.
Like,
that was one of the you're gonna laugh, but like you make a joke about it. That was one of the reasons I was like, no, yeah, this is very clearly like all of Nepthysicat's followers wear a lot of jewelry. Like cats should wear bells if they're outside so that they don't get birds. Like that's. Also, we're tieflings. We can't be sneaky. I'm fucking blue. Like I can't.
From the horns.
Right? She's got like chains connecting horns to her earrings. Like she's covered in jingles. That girl sticks out like a sore thumb.
Jingle jangle.
Everywhere. Well, thank you everyone for coming to chatWater tonight. We will see you on Wednesday. We love you very much.
Mwah, 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 mwah.
Good night, everyone.
Mwah, mwah. Kissing noises. Mwah, mwah. There's no kissing.